we have ever seen.
The Warthog strengthens Operation Enduring Freedom, spearheading urgently needed around-the-clock cover for ground troops in Afghanistan. For the crews of the A-10s, it was like nothing they had ever seen.
We arrived in Bagram, reported to my commander, and I said, "Boss, this has got to be the scariest place on Earth." We really felt like you were in the middle of a combat zone, and we were.
The A-10 is the ideal aircraft for the Afghanistan battlefield. The jet is versatile enough to navigate mountainous peaks and deep valleys, while also patrolling and pinpoint attacking their targets.
It wasn't bad flying over the mountainous terrain. The bad part was if I ever had to get out of the airplane, there's a lot of snow down there. That's not a good place to be. Going from a nice warm cockpit down into the snow is not an idea that I want to have to fulfill. The airplane, higher altitudes than what we normally would fly, just because of the heights of the mountains over there. We were able to go places that the other fixed-wing assets may or may not have been able to get in very well. And we definitely went places that the helicopters couldn't get in.
Around the clock, the Warthogs support regular and special forces soldiers while combing the mountains of Afghanistan for enemy rocket launch sites and mortar posts. As its pilots soon realized, every mission would test their training and their wills to the limit.
We showed up just past dark and got a brief, was handed a set of maps, and was told, hey, there's a lot of ground guys who are in trouble. Go out there and do what you do. Didn't have a whole lot of situational awareness on what was going on the ground, and when we checked in, the radios were just going crazy with guys calling for close air support.
Your pulse rate goes up. The intensity of what you're thinking about goes up. You know, the adrenaline rush, it's a good feeling though. And what's nice is you turn your airplane towards the fight and your training takes over.
So first thing we're looking for is what's the overall situation on the ground and get a big picture view, and then move into the area. And once we get into the area, have a pretty good idea of where everybody should be, now we'll move from the big picture to the much smaller concentrated area. And one of the first things I'm going to try to do is look down and try to find where the friendly position is. And if I can't identify him exactly, I want to at least narrow down something that I can use as a line in the sand and say, okay, we can't drop past here because that's where our guys are.
On entering the battle zone, one of the A-10 pilot's main responsibilities is to avoid friendly fire incidents at all costs.
What we mainly have to help us avoid fratricide is our radios and our eyes. Very low tech, but I think that's what makes us more efficient. Yes, we have a global positioning system that helps us figure out where we are. And we have night vision goggles that find out what's down there. But when it comes time to find out where the target is, yeah, we got to use old-fashioned Mark I eyeballs and our hands to think about where that is, because without that, we couldn't do our mission.
We went in there, and the night vision goggles were really hard to use because the sun had set, but it wasn't low enough where we were getting a lot of brightness coming from the west. So it was really difficult to use the NVGs. There was no moon illumination, and we're in this very harsh terrain that I've never seen before.
A team of observers down on the battlefield work with each pilot to guide the aircraft to its target. The Terminal Attack Controller, or ETAC, works for the Army and is responsible for ensuring that the A-10 pilot identifies and attacks the correct target while minimizing the risk to friendly ground forces.
We pass them a situational update, an area update on what's going on in the battlefield. Let them know where the friendly troops are, what the situation is of the enemy, and they kind of give them a heads up of what the threats are in the area. We'll pass them all that information, they'll copy it down, they work their little magic in the cockpit.
The A-10 is linked to the ground commanders by an Army radio network, which distributes data throughout the battlefield.
He said, hey, here's where we are, and I need you to put some ordnance down 700 meters from us, which that was eye-opening. And so we took that distance and rolled in and put a couple of 500-pound bombs down, and it immediately quieted the target area.
It's kind of like a large dragon breathing fire. That's what I could see. You know, it sounds really loud. Like a dinosaur, really, raining lead from the sky.
Like guardian angels, A-10s continue to fly over Afghanistan, protecting their friends on the ground until the war against terrorism ends. But an old enemy was waiting in the wings.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world.
The need for the A-10 would reach its climax in March 2003. Saddam Hussein's horrific regime is reaching fever pitch. This time, it would take an army with the A-10 on the front lines to bring him down. An A-10 fighter is still capable of flying with 10 feet of its wing missing and half of its tail gone. Modern Marvels will return in a moment. March 2003. Saddam Hussein's forces are about to come head-to-head with the A-10 Tankbuster as it once again prepares to fly over the battlefields of Iraq. The coalition forces mean to end the regime of Saddam Hussein for good. The Warthog has come a long way since the last desert battle.
By the time the second Gulf War, the Iraqi freedom comes along, pretty much every airplane had been modified to improve the weapon's accuracy.
The AGM-65 Maverick missiles are highly accurate, carrying warheads specifically for targeting heavy armor. Infrared imaging guidance enabled them to shoot moving targets at night. Combine these with the already large weapons load and the special laser targeting pods, and the Warthog is better prepared than ever for its deadly role in Iraq.